All right, here we go. Back for somehow already week number 4 against the spread picks. Another solid week. Can't complain. We would have got second if San Fran came through, but it's weird. We keep saying teams are disinterested. I think that's how I would describe how Jimmy looked on Sunday night. Nevertheless, still a solid week. Came in 6th. We're sitting in 3rd for the season, only 15 points behind first. So similar to last week. I don't have a good feel for this week, so we'll see if we can make it up. But this might be let's hope we can hold our ground type of week.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know what the theory would be here, but as we talk through these picks, we're gonna have to find a way to, I don't know about hedging, but just finding a way to sort of play it like maybe a little safe. Last week I felt like we knew what we knew what we liked and we went all in. I don't know what the heck we're gonna do this week, but maybe some game theory comes into play. But this is looking pretty bleak.
I don't like anything. It's weird. I don't get how one week you can be so confident. And it's not that like I'm not even not confident in these games. I just don't have a take,
Right. Yeah, no, 100%.
That's what's hard. It'd be one thing if you're just like not confident, but you have a feel. And a lot of these games, I feel like it's fine. It's a spread for a reason, I guess. I don't know.
It is funny because I was gonna like jokingly text you and be like, "This is gonna be the quickest recording we maybe ever done." I feel like I have nothing to say about any of these games.
Yeah.
Even my most confident, which we'll get to in a second. I'm just like, yeah, my reason is this, and that's about it. Like I can't. I don't know. I can't get past just being very confused about almost every one of these games.
Yeah, right. And I think we'll probably get into it, but it's a weird NFL season in general so far. I was reading today. Scoring has not been this low since 10 years, and passing hasn't been this inefficient in 10 years. So maybe that's why we have no takes. I don't know. Just not a lot of good teams.
And did you see the unders or something like 24? Like, I don't know what the math is. 24,
I bet they're crazy.
16 and 7 or something. I don't know what it is, like it's including pushes, but it's the unders have heavily out favored the overs. So just speaks to that as well, right?
Yeah. I was gonna text you. I only have takes on like one team, and it's pretty easy to know what team that's gonna be. We'll get to the Falcons later, who are now 3-0 versus the spread on the year. Not only covering but winning in Seattle. To start things off, we'll go with Miami Dolphins at the Cincinnati Bengals. One of the marquee games of the week on Thursday. We are getting it at 3.5. It's up to 4 with 84% of the cash on Cincy. Miami coming through last week. I made a joke about Mike McDaniels. Where would he go in a franchise draft? Stock's going up and up by the week. I'm taking Miami pretty highly solely because I can't stand betting on the Bengals one more week. It sucks that it's a Thursday. It's a long road trip. You got the hurricane in Miami on the road, but we've been begging to bet against the Bengals. I'm not going to waste the opportunity, especially if I like the Dolphins.
Yeah, no, I have it. You mentioned the hurricane and the long travel. That's kind of why I have it here as my 9th most confident. I do feel really good about the Dolphins. It is weird because like if you just looked at the game on paper, them against the Bills, and you didn't know the score or any sort of scoring possessions, I think the Bills had like 90 plays and the Dolphins had something like 35 to 40 plays wrong.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
A ridiculous discrepancy. But I think while you can look at that as like almost a negative towards Miami, I think you could see it as maybe even a positive in that they don't even have to play pretty. They don't have to do all these things you think would be, coordinated with winning. They found a way. They're always a big play threat. Their defense is pretty solid, and against that, whatever you want to call that offensive line in Cincinnati, I think that they're going to feast and they're going to get to Joe Burrow. They're going to make him uncomfortable. And as I know you like to mention, Joe Burrow maybe isn't all that. He's been hyped up to be this far, so I think they're going to get at him, and I think that they're always going to be in any game when you got Waddle and Tyreek coming at you. So I like them. I think we can definitely move them up a little bit higher than I have. So what do you have, 12 right now? That looks perfect.
Yeah, it's interesting too because Miami's, they're undefeated, but I don't think the public's ever going to be riding on that. I think it's going to take a couple more weeks for the public to want to.
Yeah, and take advantage of this, right, for the next little while. We said the same thing about the Bills. How long are we going to get them at such high spreads? Well, now maybe we can take advantage of them at lower spreads, but also with Miami, they're going to probably continue to be, if not weak favorites, semi good value underdogs throughout. So we'll ride with that.
Yeah. What do you think? I still don't think the Bengals have really had that explosion. I mean, you see the way the Ravens are playing. The Dolphins have put it on the field. The Bills have put it on the field so far. Even the Chiefs week 1. Everyone we want to see it so far has put out at least one game, some flashes. The Bengals, I'm seeing nothing from them.
No, yeah. I mean, we as expected, right? They're not going to be the same sort of potent offense, if you can even call it that, from last year. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's the same Jamar. T. Higgins has been banged up early. Tyler Boyd has somehow been like I don't know about stats wise, but fantasy wise, I think he's been their best wide receiver. And they continue to rely on Joe Mixon more than they probably should. Not saying he's a bad player, but just when you got those weapons, why would you be doing that? But
yeah,
regardless, I like Miami here for sure.
Sounds good. Moving on to the next one, we got London game, first of the year. Vikings at the Saints. Yes. So I had this originally. Saints pretty high, but now it appears Jameis will not be playing.
Yeah.
So I am changing it big time. We're getting it. I don't know if the spread has moved based off that. Right now it's New Orleans +3. In the pool, it is, let's see. In the pool, it's Saints +2.5 anyway. So maybe they're expecting it. I'm going with the Vikings solely on that. I'm not betting on Andy Dalton in London. Did you, I guess you saw the news Dalton's going to play? Or?
I didn't see the news that Dalton's going to play, but I knew that Jameis is out. I mean, he's been banged up for the entire season.
Yeah, it might not matter. Yeah.
And it's probably not going to matter. That said, I feel like I might want to move this one up a little bit. Just the more I kind of look at it and look at some of these other games around me again, it's because it's one of the few games I actually have a bit of an opinion on. Maybe we should just move it up out of principle. Yeah. But I do like the theory that this is like, if primetime Kirk is a thing, this is like the complete opposite of primetime Kirk. This is West Coast asleep Kirk. And obviously New Orleans defense is really solid and they're going to make it difficult for them all game. But I mean, God almighty, I don't love many of their skill guys. Kamara just isn't the same. Michael Thomas might be hurt now. So I just don't see how they're going to move the ball. So I think that Minnesota's the easy pick here, just a matter of where we want to put them. Yeah,
I'm good moving them up a bit. Cool. And I saw a stat today. Vikings pass rate is actually the same as last year. Everyone talks about Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, right.
Who I do like. It's interesting. Defaulting back to their usual ways. Yep. Jefferson's been a little quiet for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe a good bounce back spot for them here. Next up, we got the Commanders at the Cowboys. Just another weird game. Like, who has a take on this game? I feel like it's hard. Like, what makes you feel inspired looking at this game?
No, I know.
Right now, it's Dallas -3.5, 55% of the cash on Washington. I had it 10 for Washington just because, I mean, Cooper Rush, eventually the lights I guess the clock's going to strike midnight. They'll revert back a little bit to being more mediocre. But if Micah Parsons and D-Law keep wrecking games, I don't know, especially against Wentz. He's not known to be good in the pocket.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I have Dallas, but I also for some reason put them as +3.5. But to your point, I just think that Micah Parsons alone is worth like a point on a spread. It is just ridiculous what he's doing. And I don't know. Maybe Carson Wentz will just thrive under pressure because he'll have no time to think and just be doing whatever Carson Wentz does all game, just running around and making things happen. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to get him all day. And, I don't have it. I have it super low confidence because, as you said, like, why should we have an opinion on either side? But I'm just slightly in favor of Dallas, but just given how low I have them, I'm more than okay to default to you on this one.
Yeah. I think I'm probably just going to want to take the field goal, but it's weird because it's like, I don't know, if Dallas gets a strip sack for 6, that's the game, right? Yeah. I don't see Washington overcoming that, but they'll get a lot of sacks. Do they get the strip sack? I don't know. I'll put Washington pretty low for us for now.
Yep. That works.
Next up, we got Chicago Bears at the New York Giants. Right now, it's a clean spread, -3. We're getting it at -3.5. Giants giving points. I had it pretty low. Giants for 4. The Bears somehow won last week. Not pretty. And maybe that's an advantage. They're used to playing some bad teams. They get to go play another bad team this week.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to watch a ton of that game on Monday. What do you think of the Giants?
I mean, again, it's difficult to say, right? Because whenever you're playing against Michael Parsons, you got to kind of grade things in a bit of a different curve. But he made Daniel Jones's life even more miserable than it already is in a football field. He obviously doesn't do well under pressure, and I will say his decision making has been a little better than it was in years past. That doesn't mean that it's good, because it's not. But he looks somewhat more composed in the pocket, and he's a little bit less turnover prone. Nowhere near as worried about any part of the Bears defense, but I have the slight edge here for New York, just because they have way more playmakers, and I feel obviously way more confident against Chicago's front line than I do against Dallas's. So they'll have more time to pick out their guys. No Shepard though, torn ACL
crazy
for the season, just out of nowhere. That's pretty brutal. So again, the skill position pool for the Giants just continues to diminish. Who knows?
Tony's gonna have to play, right?
I don't even know. I just don't even know at this point. They're gonna have to bring Wan'Dale Robinson back. Well, he's nursing some sort of injury, but I don't know. But again, just let Saquon cook, and I do think that they'll just have more time to kind of scheme up some interesting play calls and move the ball downfield, albeit at a snail's pace. So just
another game, 39-point over under right now.
Oof.
You get a feeling it's just one play is going to win the game. Who hits the
100%
broken coverage? It's something fluky.
Yeah, just a hole opens up for Saquon and he goes like 80 yards, and that'll be that. Yeah. So I'm neither of these teams scare me, entice me, but I think the Giants are a little bit better, and probably 3.5 seems fun.
Yep. Next up, the maybe AFC Championship game preview. We titled it last week, Baltimore Contenders, as the podcast title. They went out to get a win at New England, high scoring game, fun game to watch. I think that was because I was in Vegas with all the screens, and I just found myself watching that game the whole time. Of course, I love Mac. I thought it looked awesome. It's a shame about the injury, but this right now is Baltimore +3. 84% of the cash is on Baltimore. Interesting.
Wow.
I got Buffalo pretty low at 5. I think let's not overreact to them only scoring 14 points or whatever it was. And I still think they might force Lamar into some more third down and longs, some more pure throwing opportunities. He's still, as good as he is, that's still not his game.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. It's Buffalo's secondary is completely diminished. Like, I feel like it's going completely under the radar. The fact that their 2 safeties are now hurt. They still don't have Tre'Davious White and Dane Jackson, the one with a really scary injury on Monday Night Football. He's still out. So it's like they have no secondary, but I guess this is one of those few games where they might be able to survive without their secondary. Obviously, it was just a recipe for disaster against Miami, but if you make Lamar throw, that's fine. Again, he's a much better passer this year. Or at least that's how it seemed thus far. So they'll certainly challenge him, and they'll maybe kind of encourage him to go deep. He's been a joy to watch, but I think Baltimore as a whole has been, obviously they've been solid, but they're playing really weird games. Like, I don't think the Patriots are really much of anything yet. The game was always somewhat close. It was never, Baltimore was never in cruise control. They'd score a touchdown. It seems like the Pats would kind of come right back with an answer of their own. So it hasn't been overly convincing from Baltimore, but that said, Buffalo did just lose to Miami. They're coming off of a loss, so I should be probably talking about them in maybe a bit of a lesser way. But again, if you kind of watch that game, it's just it's a missed field goal here. It's a few pretty odd passes from Josh Allen there. So I think Buffalo will certainly be hungry and can probably make Lamar do some things that he might not want to and probably hasn't had to yet this far into the season. So I like Buffalo. Where do we have them? 10th. That feels pretty good.
Yeah. And one thing too, I was watching. So the Ravens last 2 weeks, what did they play? 2 and Mac. Mac on Sunday he was really, I'm trying to think of the word here. Almost like extending the defense. He just, you don't think of it because it's Mac Jones, but he was throwing so far down the field. Consistency, really finding the spots in the defense. You saw in just the box score alone what Parker was able to do.
Right.
He was really slinging it. So you go from Mac Jones and Tua looking like gunslingers against you. Now you get the actual Josh Allen, real deal coming at you. Hopefully Gabe Davis a little bit healthier.
Same with Diggs, but again, I think everyone got hurt in that game just due to the heat. So
the amount of plays they ran, it's crazy.
Yeah, so he's questionable, but I'm sure he'll play. I don't think anyone on that team is going to want to miss this game. Nice little bounce back spot. So I like him there.
Where do you rank these 2 teams right now? Top 2
overall
in the AFC
or in the AFC?
AFC.
Yeah, I still think the Bills are one.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, I realize you could say this about a few teams, but at their best, no one's even close.
Mhm.
I just think that a lot of their issue is these tight games that seems like they can't really get the job done because they're either destroying teams or they're somehow finding a weird way to lose. Um, yeah, Baltimore. I think Baltimore is probably a tier below Buffalo. Maybe I know it's hard to say same tier as Miami because they lost to Miami, but they were in that game the whole game. And
Yeah,
again,
definitely.
Miami kind of does the thing that they do and just has a few explosive plays. But yeah, I'd say that they're definitely the top two. Also because I think they have two of the, I don't know, 3, 4 best quarterbacks right now, just in terms of when they have the ball, the defense is completely scared shitless. And I think that matters. Especially as you said, right? How bad passing and scoring has been in general. Just give the
Mhm.
ball or give me the teams that have the two most explosive quarterbacks.
Yeah. Yeah. I still think in terms of almost like a pyramid, Buffalo on that top tier, then Chargers, Chiefs, Ravens all in that same tier
Yeah.
kind of, which I mean, it doesn't sound like a hot take, but people really don't like crowning the Ravens. So but I think at this point, it's easy to say they're in at least that second tier in the
Yeah,
AFC.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Next game, we got the Cleveland Browns against our undefeated against the spread Atlanta Falcons.
There we go.
65% of the cash right now on the Atlanta Falcons. Current spread's plus 1.5. Falcons are home. I got the Falcons. I was a little surprised by the spread. I'm not going to lie. I think
Yeah.
Cleveland's been playing well, but I think as we see in the tweets I'm sending you, I think Atlanta's one of the most popular teams in the NFL right now. I mean, you talk about approval rating by the public. Everyone loves this team. And I mean, the stats back it up. I think they have the second lowest punt rate in terms of getting the ball. They're the second lowest 3-and-out rate, seventh best passing efficiency, second best rate at getting first downs on first down. And then the cool one I saw today, Atlanta doesn't really have a good O-line, but I think the way Smith's calling plays right now, Cordero Patterson, out of all running backs, has the lowest percentage of carries hit behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, for a guy like him, he gets those legs going.
Yeah.
Big strider. And then it's just PFF currently has this team graded 5th overall. It's
wow.
I mean, the people are all over it. You can't go on Twitter and not see someone either talking about Arthur Smith. This team's so unique. Arthur Smith, I mean, a joy to watch. This trio of Cordero, Pitts, and London, the big boys. It's crazy to watch after so many years of Matt Ryan and Dan Quinn and all that. The Falcons just were who they were, nothing to talk about. And now people can't get enough of this team. They think it's the most unique thing in football, which, I like too, just because it is fun watching the way they play. They play like a college team, like a Big Ten team. I like imagine a really stacked Michigan Wolverines is how they play, but great coaching. So it's tough because I say all that, but at the same time, Cleveland's been playing well too. I think better than people want to give them credit for. You take out the final 90 seconds of a Jets game. This is one of the better teams in football. I got it for 6. You got it for 3 with the Falcons.
Yep.
We can cut the middle. The Falcons win this game, though. I mean, suddenly in a weak NFC right now, especially, they could be maybe the 4th best team in the NFC, the 5th best team. It's really there's no one there after Tampa, Green Bay, Eagles. It's hard to say who the next team is right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have very little to add, and I'm still kind of cooking up a comp of which NBA team they'd be. And right now, Cleveland is what jumps out at me. And I don't know if it's because you just said the Browns, but I just like the idea of they have just a lot of guys that, I don't know, they're just big, they're long, they're switchable. It just kind of reminds me of like, you get a little Mobley in there. Now you got Donovan Mitchell. I realize Garland isn't switchable, but it's just something about that. Like, I think Mobley just kind of reminds me of like Pitts in my head. It's just like really big, freakish generational talent. So I'm trying to make that one work. I got to keep workshopping it more, but I don't know. As a proud Kyle Pitts owner, it can be frustrating when they don't get on the ball all that often, but it's, it's clearly working what they're doing. And Drake London, my God, he's just awesome. I regret so much not taking him. I wish the Cavaliers, now to go back to the basketball analogy, had one more crazy, just big switchable, like 3-and-D guy, because Drake London is just crazy. It's like, it's flashy, of course, because he's huge, but it's just so no nonsense. It's just get him the ball and he's going to just somehow find space. You said it. He's the 6'5" Devontae Adams. That's exactly what I feel about watching Devontae Adams. It's like, you look at this guy and he's not like a freak athlete. He's not like freakishly fast, but he just finds a way to create that separation and has amazing, like insane footwork. So that's a great comp.
Yeah. And it's funny because in terms of this game in general, they don't have a lot of takes. I think the spread's actually, you can make an argument a little low for Cleveland, maybe.
Yeah.
But in terms of the macro census Falcons team, what they're doing, it's really crazy. I'll go through one by one. The first one I'm seeing, should it be Desmond Ridder time? Kind of like, and how I'm viewing this is the same way last week where my preference was let's just lose by one.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because I know exactly who everyone on this team is right now, including the coaching staff. I don't care if we go, 3-14. No one can stop talking about how good of a coach Arthur Smith. I've always liked him, but even last year, even this year when they're 0-2, people just love talking about this guy, even before he was hired. And, it's weird, too, because he definitely is one of the good old boys. Look at his resume. He's like the son of the founder of FedEx.
Of the founder of FedEx.
It's like, so maybe that's why he gets so much hype, but I like him. And I think what he's building so unique. He's not a cookie cutter head coach, even someone like, not to dig your head coach, but one of the reasons I like Arthur Smith is because he's so different. It's kind of the same way I like the 49ers. He's not trying to follow the trends. He's not trying to be a McVay boy, Andy Reid guy. He's just trying to build an old school style football team, but in a modern way.
Yeah.
So tons of play action, just get people in easy spots for them to succeed.
Well, that's what I love. And I think that probably goes into the fact why Mariota has been so not highly touted, because I think that a lot of people still give him a lot of shit, but you've set the metrics. He's what, like top 8 and
seventh best right now.
So
it's crazy. And the other thing with that too, similar line of thinking, it's, I don't think anyone should expect Ridder to be anything except a career backup, but at the same time, this is the perfect situation for any young quarterback to come into play. I don't care if it's Mitch Trubisky or, Drew Lock in here. This team is it's running so smoothly right now outside the quarterback. And not to say Mariota's playing bad, he's playing fine, but this is like a perfect roster to litmus test any quarterback in the league. And yeah, it might hurt the Falcons, but I don't necessarily want the Falcons to be good anyway. But you put Ridder in there, I think we can exactly know what Ridder is for good or for bad very quickly, the way they're playing right now. It's awesome to see. And I like one play in particular that I actually watched this today, the game. Like I went back and rewatched it. They ran the London touchdown. First on London, I'll just say, I've never seen a receiver as tall as him that can move their hips like that. He could play cornerback. He is so agile. And I don't know if it's because he played basketball these years. The way he can swing his hips, whether it's a juke or a spin, it's not explosive isn't the word. It's just so smooth. Everything he does is so effortless.
It literally is Devontae Adams. It just looks like, I don't know, like he's like the complete opposite of, and again, in many different ways, Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney, when you watch him, it's like, holy, like, what is this? It's like, it's
rock and roll.
It's stop and start. It's like, I think the word people have used is like sudden. With Drake London, it's anything but. It just looks like you're watching, I don't even know, like waves crashing or something. It's just so smooth and completely, you know what it's like? It's like the difference of watching someone like Kyrie's handles super quick and fast versus someone like, Russ, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, it's awesome. I don't know. I watched that team and I'm like, damn, why didn't I just pick Drake London instead of Pitts? But I don't mind. They've been our darling, so I enjoy checking in on them and watching the highlights.
Yeah, exactly. And I was watching. I'm like, I can't come on here and say crazy things, especially, the Falcons have had Julio Jones for 10 years. I can't come on and say crazy things. And obviously he's not Julio. He's not Julio as a physical freak or whatever. But the way he plays is just so unique. I don't want to be too hyped up because, I do have a baseline. You can't expect everyone to be Julio Jones, but the way it's crazy to watch. Someone his size should not be able to move that way. And especially you compare him to someone like the way Mike Evans moves. It's insane.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But they ran this one play. I'll try to make this last thing. So they come out. This is the London touchdown. They go empty set, just Mariota in the backfield. But what they do is Cordero on the boundary receiver on one side, Tyler Algier as the boundary receiver on the other side. Then in the slot, they got Zacchaeus is the middle and the trips receiver to the right. Pitts is in the slot, and then London's in the other slot. And it's like, if you're in a defensive huddle and you see that, that what's the word? I guess lineup of players in their huddle on the
Yeah.
opposite side. How can you get set up and
Right.
defend a play that
Right.
quickly if they come out in that formation? And that's what you see. Look at the play. Pitts is also wide open for a walk-in touchdown. They just happen to go to London, who, I mean, like I say, the way he can move his hips, he just spins right out of a tackle. The guy can't even get a hand on him. And the thing on London too, the knock before the draft, he, maybe he's slow, maybe he can't separate. I'm not going to say he's a blazer, but in terms of 10 to 15 yard sprint,
yeah, no,
maybe similar to how Cordero can get those long stride going. He moves so quick. He glides. It's like watching a deer play football. I'm happy to have him, and I'm happy. I think what the Falcons have right now, similar to what people said about the Niners D line for so long, it takes a real concentrated effort to build a system like this. And it sucks that Cordero is 30 or 31 or whatever, but it's, I think, a really fun thing that's hard to replace, hard to replicate going on right now in Atlanta.
Yeah, no, totally agreed. And last quick thing on that, God, it can be difficult to differentiate number 5 and number 8 in the field. They're just so tall. It's crazy. Like I sometimes have a very hard time. Like, again, if I'm like half looking and I red zone pops on, you see 5 and 8 lined up, and it's like, wait, which one is Pitts again? Which one is London? But yeah, just to have those weapons. What is it? 6'4" and 6'5"? Just
5 and 6. Yeah, it's crazy.
Unbelievable.
I'm really happy, and it's, we don't need to win games, but I think this is what every team wants. You want to be so comfortable with your team, you don't care if they win or lose. And a lot of teams, you either have to root for them to lose because everyone's so bad they got to go and you got to completely restart, or you got to completely root for them to win because it's either now or never. Falcons right now are in such good middle, where I think regardless what happens, I think, you feel like you got the stuff. And I don't think any 1 week or any 1 month can change that, because at the end of the day, this is a pretty mediocre roster. But the signs are there, I think. So following the Falcons love, we'll go next up. Chargers at the Texans. Texans right now getting 58% of the cash on the Chargers. We're getting it at 4.5. I got the Chargers second highest. Hopefully Herbert's healthy. I guess this could be changed later in the week if it's looking like he's just as bad he might be last week. What do you think of them?
Yeah, I don't know. They're obviously just they should be a juggernaut, but Bosa's now out for a few weeks, right? I just saw that report. It's just so difficult. They're such a difficult team to pan out because they should be amazing, right? 4.5 though against the Texans. I don't really care who's playing quarterback. Like, they have enough on either side still to where I think they should be able to win pretty comfortably. The line has it seems like it started to move, right? What do we have it at here now? 4.5, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks here on the PFF that it opened at -7, which is a little interesting. They're already starting to rip towards Houston, but yeah, it's just one of those games that I don't have very much of a read on. But Herbert didn't look fantastic last week, but we've also got one more week to kind of rehab and whatnot. But in the hands of that doctor, who the hell knows what that rehab process looks like. So really difficult read, but Herbert or not, the Chargers are still better, and they should still be favored no matter what. And I like them where we have them.
Yep. Next up, Jags at the Eagles. Eagles, another convincing performance. I think Washington's our biggest, costing us money so far, because we had the Jags high week 1, we had Washington high the past 2 weeks now.
Just
0-3 for us.
Keep them second least confident.
Right now Philly -6.5, 55% on the Jags. Still getting them at 6.5 in the pool. I don't want to keep betting against Philly, so I got the Jags. It's pretty low. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I also have them pretty low. I think the Jags are really good. I mean, maybe not really, really good, but certainly dark horse candidate to be frisky in the AFC. AFC South is just hot garbage, so would not be surprised if they can find a way out of that division. Lawrence has clearly made that next step, and I just think that this is just a testament to how horrible everything was with Urban Meyer. He just looks a bit more relaxed, and you can laugh all you want about the Christian Kirk signing, but he's been pretty damn solid. He's an awesome number one for him, and clearly they have a good connection. Two solid running backs. Their D line is great, and I don't think there's really much to say other than the fact that the Eagles have been amazing. Yet 6.5 feels a little disrespectful, just because I think the Jaguars are a pretty solid team that can definitely hang in there with the Eagles. So I think 6.5 is a lot. I if it was anywhere from maybe like 3.5 to like 5, I'd probably go on the side of the Eagles. But let's go Jacksonville.
Yeah, and I think the Jags can come down and score in the last 2 minutes of a game right now, even if they're down.
Backdoor cover.
Next up, Jets at the Steelers. We both got the Steelers pretty high. It's currently -3 with Steelers, 59% of the cash on them. We're getting it at 3.5. So a little line moving the other direction. Why do you got it so high?
I don't know. It just feels good. I told you I don't have very much insight. It's just like Zach Wilson could be back, which, if anything, maybe helps our cause.
Yeah, I'd rather Zach Wilson be back there.
I just really think that as bad as Mitch Trubisky is, I mean, how much worse is he really than Zach Wilson? I don't know. Maybe a lot. But I think that Pittsburgh is just obviously a much better coach team. Their skill guys are still good enough to make plays. Granted, I guess the Jets are too, but no Garrett Wilson still, right? I'm not sure if he's healthy yet. But yeah, just better coach team. Tomlin's never been under 500, so if he wants to keep that trend alive, this is one of those games that's just absolutely a must win in that regard. I think that Pittsburgh has been quite disrespected this season, and they're not a good football team right now, just given their injuries and quarterback situation. But they're a better coach team, and they're a better team overall than the Jets.
Yeah, I look at it. One, I think the Steelers actually were pretty competitive last week with the Browns, who I think are a pretty good football team, even with Brissett. Yep. But just simply better coach, better roster, and I think better quarterback. Home, only giving 3. So next up, we got Seahawks at the Lions. Current line is Lions -4.5. 63% of the cash is on the Lions. We are getting at 5.5. I got Seattle at 8. You got them at 4. This is a game where Seattle also kind of frisky so far. Geno looks good. I think at halftime of that Falcons game, 14 of 18, 200 yards, 2 TDs. I mean, they wanted to let him cook. He's serviceable. You know, he's not incompetent as a quarterback. Maybe a little mistake prone. Falcons are obviously an easy defense to pick on, but so are the Lions in the dome. So I'm good. I think it's a pretty big spread for the Lions to be giving, even though I'll keep betting against them until we're probably 0-16 against them this year, but I like Seattle.
Yep. No, I'm aligned. I feel a little bit more afraid of the Lions, but as you mentioned, Geno's moving the ball around the Falcons. Lions secondary is probably similar-ish, maybe a touch better, but 5.5 is a lot of points for two teams that, I mean, the Lions are better on paper, obviously, but they play weird games, and 5.5 just makes me feel more comfortable. I'd much rather pick the team having to cover plus 5.5 than the Lions having to win by 6+.
Yeah, I'll keep that
up high. That works.
Next up, Titans at the Colts. Colts coming off a big win back against the wall. That really feels like that was Matt Ryan's career on the line. I don't know, maybe Frank Reich's too. Everyone I was in this theater too watching, and everyone had money on the Colts that was sitting by us. So it's fun to watch. I was rooting for Ryan, and I was rooting for Survivor too, because so many people had the Chiefs, and I took the Bengals. So a lot of people got out because of that. Right now, Colts -3.5, 53% on the Colts. I took Tennessee pretty low, taking the points. Like I said, I wanted to bet on Tannehill, and he actually came through. He played awesome last week. A guy who I was thinking about him as in 2 ways last week. One, 2 interesting thought theories. If the Niners had traded Jimmy, imagine that offensive system with Tannehill. That'd be pretty fun to watch. And then this week, after the way the Falcons are playing, I'm like, wait, what if you gave Arthur Smith Tannehill again too? But I think, these two teams are probably pretty even. Even though the Colts got the win, I thought they looked pretty ugly. So 3 points on the road division game. We both got it pretty low. Anything more? No,
not really. I think this is just kind of as we saw last week with the Titans, I think that Vrabel just tends to kind of, when their backs are against the wall, I can always count on Vrabel to just hype the team up and have him come out and look pretty competent. Tannehill looked good. Henry looked better than he has in the past. I just think they're tough. Any team that's coached by Vrabel is just going to be tough. And yeah, I just think they can kind of come out physical the Colts. I have it right in the middle. It could go either way, I think, but give me the team getting the points at the end of the day.
Yep, sounds good. Next up, we got Cardinals, the ugly Cardinals at the Panthers. Current line is Carolina minus 1.5 with 80% on the Cardinals. We both got the Cardinals pretty high, even though, they're not going to be able to backdoor cover this one. They're probably going to have to win the game outright. So far, they've been down 10 points in the first, I don't know if it was first quarter, first half of every single game. This team looks like they're on a destiny for everyone for a clean house next year, but so do the Panthers. So it's tough to draw the line. I guess Baker Mayfield versus Kyler Murray, 1.5 might be a little disrespectful to Kyler.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Panthers defense does look pretty good, but not good enough to where it's just going to completely diminish Kyler's ability. I still think there are some question marks for both of these teams, especially on the Panther side. I mean, that offense looks pretty tragic. And what's that stat with Matt Rule? He's never won a game when the opposing team has scored more than 17 points.
17. Yeah.
And the Cardinals offense is definitely good enough to score 17 points. So the fact they're getting points there with all that in mind, I feel pretty good about them.
Yeah. Big game from Hollywood last week. Interesting to see. Next up, Broncos at the Raiders. Current line is Raiders minus 2.5 with 77% of cash on the Raiders. Denver still refusing to look like an actual NFL team. Coach isn't working. Quarterback isn't working. I mean, geez, probably one of the worst vibes team in several years. And to make matters worse, I guess the Raiders aren't really good vibes either. But their backs against the wall, their own 3 in their home. I'll take them.
Yeah. I going the reverse. I have Vegas here. Or you said you had Vegas as well?
Yeah, I have Vegas.
Oh, you do Vegas. Okay, yeah. I have Vegas as well. As you said, backs against the wall. I just can't imagine being an 0-4 team, right? They're not. Nothing about them like blows me away, but to start 0-4 feels a little crazy. I just it is almost just like sad to watch the Broncos. Every game is the exact same thing. The weirdest score lines. Just they don't move the ball properly. Mm-hmm. I really don't know what much else to say. I think that the Raiders are just super overdue for a win. And yeah, I think the offense is just too good and they're going to outscore them for sure.
Yep. Yeah. I actually saw one of my friends who's a Raiders fan. He sent Carr and Max Crosby had a players only meeting today.
Yes.
So maybe McDaniel's on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Who knows? Part 2. I mean, he ran his way out of Denver really quickly, but actually a little bit of a McDaniel sympathizer. So hopefully he gets it going around. We'll see. We'll come back. Part 2. We got 3 games left: Patriots, Packers, Chiefs, Bucks, and the Monday night Rams, Niners. And hopefully we'll round it out, get back on the right track.
Sweet.